welcome to friends to a very spooky episode of the Lord of the Wrongs podcast, the only Tolkien podcast the professor himself would dismiss as juvenile and crass. My name's Dan Zerby. I'm here with my good friend and co-host Sean Kelly, and we'll be discussing the news, writings, adaptations, and just everything with J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium in a way that he wouldn't approve of. Happy Halloween, Sean.
Happy Halloween, Zerby. I like the sort of creepy twist on the intro. Ooh.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a special episode. So, and happy Halloween to our listeners if you're listening to this when it's released on Halloween 2023.
And you know what? Happy Halloween if you're listening in June of next year.
Yeah,
or beyond.
because Halloween's just fun. It doesn't have to be just in October, I guess.
I support Halloween all year round.
Yeah. So I have a quick question for you, Sean. In a Scream-style slasher whodunit, who of the Fellowship would end up being the surprise killer? If Frodo is our final girl, then who would be the twist
Frodo's
killer?
final girl. Boromir's not it.
Yeah, no, he's a red herring.
He's a red herring.
He's there
He's
specifically.
over the plate.
Yeah. So who's our Billy Loomis and Stu?
I feel like
Stu Macher?
Sam would also be like the. Although he might like resent being stuck as his gardener.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, or it's another red herring. There's just a few shots of Sam like giving Frodo a side eye, and you're like, "Ooh, what is that?"
Yeah,
but it doesn't end up playing out.
Herring.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm leaning Hobbit here.
I was thinking I was on the same page.
It's because it also feels like their stealth with although hang on,
yeah,
it's tough in a Scream style slasher because you're gonna get silhouetted at some point, and it's gonna be gonna narrow it down pretty quickly.
Who are you, Mr. Ghostface, who's only 4 feet tall, 3.5 feet tall? Yeah,
exactly. Like that.
Well,
the killer...
Frodo and Sam are over there, so I wonder who could this be? I was also thinking it would be like Merry and Pippin because they are secretly jealous of Frodo that he's Bilbo's heir.
Oh yeah, and they're working in tandem.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what? And they do like a 2 men in a trench coat situation, so they look full size.
There you go. Oh my god! And the mastermind behind the whole thing, Lobelia Sackville Baggins.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Bitch.
All right, draft it up.
That's gonna have to be another adaptation station. We just accidentally did one.
Yeah, you just sort of backed your way into an adaptation there.
That question was meant to honestly just be dumber.
You've discovered what I have come to find, which is that you end up coming up with things that are more entertaining than you thought they would be. To begin with. Well,
that's the thing, we come up with a dumb idea and then we do it and we realize that we are kind of dumb, so it just ends up being a good conversation.
Yeah, we're just like, oh wow, that sounds awesome, but it would be bad. Yeah. All right, so yeah, no, that was a good little way to warm up our palates. Zerb. We're talking about all things spooky and Tolkien today.
Yeah, and there are plenty of spooky things. I mean, we're gonna.
Yeah, we'll talk about all the critters and the spooky passages, all that fun stuff. I have a question or two for you, Zerby, though.
Okay, go ahead, fire away.
If you were to dress up as one of the monsters from Tolkien's sort of Legendarium, who would you pick for Halloween?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and I thank you for asking it.
Rigwraith is kind of like over the plate. It's like too easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, if I was actually making a Halloween costume, I probably would go with a Nazgul. But you're right.
You
It's
have
a little
black tattered sheet lying around.
Right. and I have several iron crowns as well, so it's just like it's a little too easy. So I would probably, you know what? Oh, there's a lot of really good options, but I think I would end up going with a barrow white.
Oh, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
It's pretty creepy.
Yeah, definitely creepy. You know, it's be some fun makeup, I guess. Not that I know really how to do stage makeup, but
Yeah, I mean,
I
just
feel like it would be fun to
cover
try
yourself
for.
in like
Yeah,
bluish white, and
yeah,
yeah, no pun intended, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. I was gonna say.
But I was thinking, was it what's the rotoscoped movie of
Oh
Lord of
yeah,
the
that
Rings?
yeah, Ralph Bakshi's. Yeah,
Yeah, Ralph
Ralph
Bakshi. Yeah,
Bakshi's.
I
Yeah.
want to be the Balrog from that.
Oh yeah.
Just some big old tree trunk legs.
Yeah. Seriously.
And like, yeah, if you haven't seen this movie or like heard
Yeah,
of
the
it or
Ralph
whatever,
Bakshi Lord of the Rings goes up until the end of the Two Towers, and then that's it. But
yeah, you
it
need
is,
to see the
guys.
Balrog. It is,
You should honestly just watch the whole thing. It's really, really weird.
it's yeah, it's
It's an
quite
entertaining
weird.
watch, though.
I watched it when I was pretty young, so I had like I don't even know if watched the whole thing. I had no idea what was going on. I think I was just getting
Yeah.
tripped out by the rotoscoping animation the
Yeah,
entire time.
it's really unsettling. And also it's hilarious because the Nazgul just like look like some of like they look like they're wearing like gas masks or something. They look like the cover of I don't remember which Black Sabbath album, but yeah,
Yeah,
so really
the whole
strange.
thing is
Yeah, it
weird.
was
So if not that Balrog, then probably something from that because it's
nice.
just
Yeah.
kind of creepy in general.
Yeah, it is. It's very creepy. it's and it's meant to be in some parts, and some parts I don't think are meant to be creepy, and it just ends up being upsetting looking. But that's rotoscope animation, everybody. It's
Yeah,
basically animated. If for those of you who don't know, it's essentially animating over like
like
film.
a person. They silhouette a person
Right.
that they filmed and then cut it out and then just animate over
Yeah.
like their
Right. So
that.
you're seeing an animated character move creepily like a real person. It's
Yeah,
very
imagine
yeah, it's
it's
unsettling.
drawing frames in like at least 30 FPS that
Yeah.
just weren't meant to, and I don't know, it just comes off weird.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But
speaking
but it's
of
effective.
speaking of weirdness and monsters, do you want to just run through the list of the creepy critters?
Well, you know, I'd love to, Sean, but you made the list.
Do you want me to run through
I
the
want
list of
I
creepy
want you
critters?
to I want you to run through the list because
So,
I do have information on some of the more specific Halloweeny type monsters that we see.
yeah, I coming up with this sort of list. I did exclude some stuff like dragons and balrogs and stuff because they're not like
Right.
classically creepy, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're
Right.
not
Yeah.
seeing a porch decoration of like a dragon on Halloween. It's just
Okay.
doesn't.
But now that you say that, why the hell aren't there like Balrog Halloween decorations? Like that would like Home Depot sells that like 14-foot skeleton. Why the hell don't they sell a 14-foot
Just
Balrog?
a
I'm okay
big
with
like
it having wings. Just like, but it's awesome. That would be so cool.
that would be cool. Like a wacky inflatable arm flailing Balrog. Just sort of
Yeah,
flipping out like a
yeah, I'd put that on my roof.
like a Moria used car sales.
Everything must go because everything is gone. Yeah.
All right, so let's start
Anyway.
off. We've got just a over the plate. We got your orcs slash goblins. They're the same thing, by the way.
Yeah, they are the same thing. It depends on whether you're reading Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, basically. But yeah,
I mean,
the exact
they're
same
used a
creature.
little bit interchangeably, and I think it's like
Yeah.
a regional sort of thing, but mostly it's
Yeah.
it's the same breed effectively.
Yeah, they're the same animal, same species, same race, whatever word you want to use.
And
They're the same thing.
we'll talk about orcs more, and we'll kick that ring down the river.
Yeah, they'll get a whole episode.
Yeah, but yeah, we got trolls. Another one.
Classic.
They're not quite so Halloweeny, but
No, but they're creepy folklore. They're
a classic. Then we start getting into some. Well, let's get into the animals. We got
yeah,
giant spiders, of course.
naturally, yeah.
Werewolves and wargs, which
Yeah.
it's we'll get into that in a minute. The
We'll talk about that in a
differentiation
second.
there.
Yeah.
We've got vampires,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about in a sec as well. And then, I also included Crabine, which are the crows that come after the Fellowship.
Yeah. We could also mention bats.
Yeah, aren't there like giant bats?
Giant bats in the Battle of Five Armies. Yeah.
Yeah. And some wereworms. They exist.
They are mentioned, once in the first chapter of The Hobbit and then never again in the Legendarium, but apparently they exist.
Not
it's confusing
a classic.
Too.
Not a classic Halloween situation, but
no, it's not a classic anything situation, really. I mean, it's also one of those things too, where it's like, so a werewolf means man wolf. Were is like Old English for man. So a wereworm would imply that it's a man that turns into a worm,
or it's a man's worm.
Oh, is it just it's just a dick joke?
Yeah, I think it's just
man.
Like,
first Shakespeare, now Tolkien, just dick jokes. All right.
Yeah, no, that seems like his brand of puerile humor. Anyway, we've got, and then I've got the last category, the undead. We've got the wraiths, ring wraiths. We've got whites, barrow whites, or I mean, I guess
whites, by the way, spelled WIGHT, not like whites like Sean and I are whites.
Yeah, I guess you could call us that. It feels a bit reductive, but
not all we are, but
we've got the corpse candles. I don't really know a better term for them, but it's the spirits that will-o'-the-wisps, whatever you want to call them, that Frodo, Sam, and Gollum see in the dead marshes.
Yes,
indeed. And the necromancer himself.
Of course, yeah. Sauron's creepiest form, I'd argue.
Yeah. We don't get to see much of it, but
no, because we don't see much of
is there.
Yeah. Actually, we don't really get to see much of Sauron, any of Sauron's creepiest forms, It's he's just behind a curtain the whole time, yeah.
Yeah. So Oz style.
Pay no attention to the Maya behind the curtain.
But yeah, do you want to talk about werewolves and vampires? That was kind of what we were going to focus on for this, because they're not mentioned often, but
no, they're not. That's the thing. It's so funny because I feel like anytime either a Tolkien like YouTuber or podcaster makes a Halloween episode, we're all talking about the same thing. You're going to talk about vampires and werewolves because they're the classic, like, spooky, Halloween-y type stuff to talk about. The problem, of course, is that there's really not that much. There's really just not that much on either werewolves or vampires. But what there is, we'll tell you right now. So vampires, we know, kind of exists. At one point, after Sauron gets his ass kicked by Huon, the great hound of the Valar. He turns into a great vampire bat to fly away.
But Tolkien just uses the term vampire. I don't think he says bat, but I guess that's the sort of spoiler for both of these. It's just a big bat and a big wolf. It's not the classical creature
it's
that
not
we know.
Dracula or
Jacob.
Lawrence Talbot's the Wolfman, but it's not quite like that. So there is one actual vampire specifically named in the Legendarium, and that is Thuringwethil. She's a lady. and she's
Ooh.
yeah, yeah. She's a lady monster, and
That's
we
flirty.
really
Okay.
yeah. She's only we only see her in the first age. She's a messenger of Sauron in the early days when Sauron wasn't the boss, when Melkor was still the boss. Uh, and yeah, so she basically looked like a giant bat person.
Just sort of a big, creepy homing pigeon.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, yeah,
I mean, yeah,
talk about
that's
reductive, Sean. Come on. In theory, she also drinks the blood of people, but it doesn't say anything about that.
yeah. We can imply. We can
So
extrapolate a lot from those like
that's
three
true.
sentences dedicated to
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
But yeah,
So a little about her. We don't know for sure if she was maybe like a fell spirit that gets this particular form. I think it's likely that she is a corrupted Maya in the service of Morgoth and Sauron.
could be, yeah.
There's no objective reason to believe that, but it's just a guess. It's like, Occam's razor. It's like the
Well,
simplest answer is likely the right one,
there's also it's kind of the same with the werewolves, where
Yeah.
or is it the wargs, where he basically Tolkien says like it's like a normal big bat or a normal wolf, but it's inhabited by an evil spirit. So we don't
Yeah.
know if that's a Maya or if it's some like
Right.
lesser spirit.
Yeah. We don't
Once
know for
again,
sure.
it's all very vague, but
Yeah.
it's
Um,
she's a big bat.
yeah, she's a big bat. We don't have much on her. I mean, she is mentioned once in the Silmarillion. I think she's also mentioned in Unfinished Tales, but again, there's just not that much. But what there is, Thuring Wethil, means a woman of secret shadow, which is a
Uh,
pretty
yeah,
pretty
that's a
awesome.
badass name. Yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool, right? um, and yeah,
Yeah,
and
leave
in
it to
Baron and Luthen.
Tolkien
Yeah, she's
to
mentioned
come
in
up
Baron
with.
and Luthen. Sorry,
Yeah,
go
leave
ahead,
it to
Sean.
Tolkien to come up with like a language that he can just say this like an
Yeah.
entire sentence to describe this monster, and it just sounds like this awesome name at the end of it.
Yeah, it's like if Zerb meant like Dan who lives in Connecticut, It's like wow.
It's like, well,
It's like
okay, that
that's
gives a lot
a
of
lot of
info.
information. Yeah, there's a lot of information there. Uh
That's back in.
yeah. Um
Yeah, we
so
should
yeah,
probably bleep that out.
yeah. Yeah, I'll cut that. But yeah, so yeah, she's in the Thuring Wethil, she's in the chapter in the Silmarillion of Beren and Luthien. And Luthien wears her skin basically to sneak into Angband,
Yeah. That,
right? Sneaking
okay,
into
so
Angband.
she basically, I think Huan kills her or something, and then they take her fell, which is her hide,
Yeah.
and then she puts that on, and I think she took it to oh man, yeah, I don't remember. She took it to go the first time to Sauron's little tower, or if she took it to all the way to
Yeah.
Angband.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Uh,
sure I'm pretty sure they wore those to go rescue Baron, but
yeah. Well,
yeah,
Baron
either
is
way.
well, Baron is with her at this point wearing a wolf hame, which is another word for pelt.
Yeah,
Um,
apparently a Haim and a Fell, or maybe one's hairier than the other. Who knows?
yeah, maybe that. Yeah, maybe a fell is like it's mostly skin, not so much
Mm,
fur, but yeah.
it's a rodent pelt.
I mean, bats are flying rodents. Not, I don't say that to be mean. Bats are awesome. I love bats, but yeah, it's like they are
Yeah,
basically mice with wings. Yeah,
don't offend our bat audience, sir.
yeah. So yeah, I want to issue an apology to our bat audience. I spoke in haste and I spoke. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend anybody.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
They're some of our keenest listeners.
and they do. They have the best
Come
hearing of
on,
all of our listeners, which is would imply, honestly, that they're probably not very big fans.
I would also like to issue an apology for making that joke. But
Yeah.
let's move on. Do you want to
I was
talk
gonna say,
about werewolves?
yeah, I have one more thing to say about Thuringwethil because
Oh.
it's one of the few other details. It's literally like the last detail we get about her, so I might as well mention it. So she was wont to fly in vampire's form to Angband, which again is what implies that she's like a fell spirit or a corrupted Maya or something. And it says, and her great fingered wings were barbed at each joint's end with an iron claw. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty metal. It makes
Yeah.
me wonder if she
So
was
metal.
like a shapeshifter.
I was gonna say she sounds like Danny Filth of Cradle of Filth. It's a band.
Yeah, no, thank you for immediately explaining the reference.
Well, you didn't immediately laugh, and so
No,
that
I did.
made
I
me
did. Yeah, I didn't get
immediately
it.
insecure about what I just said. I was like, oh, maybe no one's gonna get that joke. Not that it was a good
No,
joke,
it's
but you know,
just all the Zerbies out there will get it. But yeah,
so
all
I
right.
would be
So
shocked if there are
werewolves.
any other Zerbies listening in here, but werewolves, yeah. So we mentioned, or actually, well, you will hear in an episode about Sauron this name because I'm realizing that episode hasn't come out yet because this is actually a little out of order. But you'll hear in our episode about Sauron, little sneak peek for you guys, that there is an island off of the coast of Valinor called Tol Sirion that Sauron takes it by force, and it's renamed Tol Gauroth, which means Isle of Werewolves. So it becomes kind of a stronghold for Sauron, and yeah, there he breeds large wolves, and he, quote, sends fell spirits into them, making them werewolves.
Yeah, so that's what I was mentioning before. So
Yeah, so if you're
once again,
confused,
not very specific.
so are we. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're confused, so are we. We don't totally get it either. Because again, what makes it a werewolf?
Colin Godhoth is isn't it in Beleriand? Isn't it like a
Is it?
I thought it was like in a river in the Syrian?
Oh yeah, it is likely off the coast of
Well, either way, he basically takes over a stronghold and seizes it for himself, and he lives in this creepy tower, and just fills it with a bunch of nasty wolves.
Yeah, Tol Sirion is. You're right. It is in Beleriand. It is kind of like northwest of where Gondolin is, so it's pretty far north in Beleriand.
Yeah, I think it was an outpost.
Yeah, it's an island
to watch
on
the borders.
Yeah, it's an island in the river.
Yeah.
Syria. Yeah.
Either way, yeah, there's a lot of big
Werewolf
creepy
Island,
wolves here. And yeah, so the difference between wolves, wargs, and werewolves. So wolves are wolves.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean in The Hobbit, Tolkien talks about the evil wolves and then calls them wargs. So that does imply that there are regular old wolves.
Yeah, so I think they're
that are
probably
not
just
necessarily evil. They're just wolves.
it's the same as like they're just spiders that aren't
right. They're normal,
Shelob's
ordinary
kids
spiders. Yeah.
or Goliaths or whomever. And then wargs are here's where we run into the issue.
Yeah, this is
what
where
makes them evil.
Yeah, I mean, they're particularly are friends with goblins. They've associated themselves with goblins and the
they're said to be like cruel and things like that, and it's
they're wolves that are extra dickish, I suppose.
Yeah, just a bunch
maybe a
of
little
bad dogs.
Yeah, very bad boys and girls. Yeah, they piddle all over the carpet
and rend people's throats and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So you have to clean up after them quite a bit. Just like my hound at home. Yeah.
Yeah, she's been disemboweling a lot of people.
Yeah, and again, piddling on the floor. It's just a nightmare. The blood is really annoying to clean up.
Yeah, you got to keep swapping between cleansers for the different stains.
Yeah, hydrogen peroxide actually gets blood out really, really well. So
Yeah, but it doesn't work on your end, unfortunately. So
No, he's gonna.
anyway, so yeah, they're. I mean, sort of the definition is that they're wolves that live beyond the, like in the wilderlands.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's basically around
And nearby nearby the
Mirkwood.
Misty Mountains too. Yeah, like
Yeah,
they
like
clearly.
around the Anduin and but then they're also
Well, we
they
know from
also
the
come
Hobbit that
down to
the wargs and the goblins, meet up and raid like the
they've come to
woodsmen's
the Shire
homes. Oh yeah,
too.
that's true. Yeah, yeah. Earlier in the
So
Third Age, yeah,
so who knows how they've spread or whatever. But basically
yeah.
they're wolves that are evil and presumably, well, I wonder if Sauron, this is pure speculation at this point, but I wonder if Sauron created the werewolves, right? And I wonder
Seems to imply that. Yeah,
yeah, by like basically infusing them with evil spirits. So I wonder if
right.
their offspring ended up becoming the wargs or something.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, just
They
like
sort of carried that
how.
evil nature.
Yeah, like Ungoliant was a massive giant spider, and Shelob is nowhere near as big as she was. And then Shelob's children in Mirkwood are, you know, even smaller than her, even though they're still
Habitable by a hobbit.
giant spiders. Yeah.
Yeah, but
All right. Okay, so here's a question, Sean. Here's something I got for you. Okay, what would you if you're imagine that you are in Mirkwood? What would you rather have? A single warg stalking you, or three giant spiders stalking you? Based on what we know from the writings, which one is scarier?
I think I'd rather. I don't know. I mean, like, so
It's not a good choice either way, really.
yeah. So I guess you could avoid the warg by climbing a tree.
True.
Which there's precedent for that.
Yeah, there sure is in The Hobbit. Yeah.
I was gonna say spiders because if I came face to face with a warg or a spider, like I feel like I could kill a spider somehow potentially. Whereas a warg would it would just kill me. There's no shot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too, because you got to keep in mind, like, the tiny hobbit and the dwarves, which are also very small, managed to chase off a ton of spiders basically by shouting and throwing rocks. And they kill quite a few of them just by throwing rocks. So yeah, I also would rather face three giant spiders than a single warg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of what I was thinking. It depends on how I'm armed and whatnot, but yeah,
True. Yeah.
a warg. I mean, it's another case of we're always talking about like the greatest heroes of the ages, and they're armed with weapons and
Yeah.
they're experts at killing and hunting and all that. If I went up against a warg, even if you give me a sword, I'm gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, no matter what, I don't think you're gonna. I was gonna say it's like, well, if I had my bow with me, I would still say spiders because I'm not good enough of a shot to take down a warg. I'm certain of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you get one shot, and
if it's not a bullseye, you're probably gonna. If that's your only weapon, you're screwed.
You're gonna be nervous. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, your heart's gonna be racing. You probably only get time for one shot.
So I guess that sort of relates to my question, which was going to be, out of all those creatures, which would you most like to meet in a dark alley?
Most like to meet or least like to meet?
Most like.
Okay, so the least scary one to me.
Yeah, basically.
It's like which one could I take in a fight? Basically, asking.
Yeah, basically. Or like, do you think you could just get past it and get out of the alley?
Yeah. I mean, let's see. I would say if it's just one, I'd probably choose an orc, as long as it's not like an urukai, a normal-sized orc, which are generally smaller.
Like a Rings of Power orc? Those guys are kind of scary.
Now they are scary. I'm thinking like the sillier orcs of the Hobbit, but
And I am gonna exclude the Crebine from this one because
no, you
I'm
know what?
pretty
I would
sure
fight
you
a
could.
crow. I would
Yeah,
definitely
I'm pretty
fight a
sure you
crow.
could take a crow.
I probably could, but I don't know that I would. Crows are pretty cool in real
Yeah,
life, at least.
no, Crebine are not
Crebine,
cool.
yeah, no, they're giant dickhead crows. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
uh,
spies.
yeah, they're spies, sons of bitches. Anyway, shit. There's no good option there. You know what? I would say a barrow white. I think I could get away from a barrow white well enough.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, they
They kind of
sort
like
of
have a
get you
magic
with
too.
fear instead of being
Yeah,
corporeal.
yeah.
Are you brave enough?
I mean, Frodo's able to take a swing at chops off an arm, so you know
Yeah, well, do you have a written blade of Westerness?
that's a good point. I don't. I have. I was gonna say I have the United Cutlery reproduction of Orcrist, but
Oh,
that's.
that's pretty cool. I have a box cutter lying around somewhere. Just
I was gonna say I think I have a hatchet somewhere. Maybe if I happen to have it on me, then I would take on a barrow white for sure. I'm like I could kill a zombie, a
I
single
think I
zombie. I could take down a zombie. That's basically what they
yeah.
are.
I feel like I could probably. I feel like I'd probably have a stick, and I mean, what do you cut? Like tinfoil? You think tinfoil would allow you to make contact? Just wrap a quarterstaff in tinfoil.
Yeah,
I don't. I'm not a Ghostbuster. In case
me either. I
don't know how the rules work
I'd say,
exactly.
do we get a proton pack or whatever?
Oh yeah, no. If we could vacuum up a barrel weight, then
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, do I get that
um,
cool light trap thing that they have? The
yeah. So
Ghostbusters
all
have?
right. So one creature is coming at you, and you get one weapon of choice. I
Yeah.
mean, an orc and a gun, right?
Yeah, I would take an orc and yeah, probably a just to be fun, a cult peacemaker, the old school single action cowboy gun just for the style of it,
So
Yeah, quick draw on a slow walking corpse. Yeah.
you're going for style points. I respect that.
I mean, you're giving me the option of having a weapon. I mean, it's
Yeah, I'd just fight a giant spider with a can of Raid. I'm pretty sure that'd be enough, you know?
yeah, they could do it. Yeah, they could do it. Maybe a can of off. Yeah.
I
Raid
mean, it
off.
seems like anything, really.
Yeah. I mean, a can of hairspray and a lighter really could get the job done for a few of these things too.
I believe. All right, you tell me if I'm wrong because I know you're the expert. Did they do that in Eight-Legged Freaks? I feel like that there was definitely a flamethrower involved at one point.
I'm
Was it
trying
an
to remember.
impromptu one?
Yeah,
You
I
said
think
you'd watched that movie like 20
I
times.
have watched it 20 times, but I've watched a lot of really goofy movies like a lot of times. So it's like I recently have if I have David Arquette in my head, it's going to be Scream. That's what I watched most recently, all the
Yeah,
Scream
fair
movies.
enough.
So it's been a little while. I think Scarlett Johansson's character in Eight-Legged Freaks might have done it.
Yeah.
Hairspray and a lighter. That might have happened, but it's been a while. It's been a couple years.
All right, so it's an option.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any other fun, spooky Halloween tidbits you wanted to share?
No.
Yeah, I
I mean
figured
that's yeah,
this would be a short one.
yeah, we knew going in this would be a slightly shorter episode because it's fun to talk about this stuff, and I wish there was more information. But there
Oh,
isn't.
yeah, there is one thing I forgot
Ooh.
about the creepy passages in the
Oh,
books.
sure, yeah, there's a few excellently spooky parts of especially in Lord of the Rings. In particular, I mean, I think one of the scariest parts is probably in the Barrow Downs when the hobbits get all zombified and bewitched.
Yeah, the whole passage. It's sort of surreal and very creepily written.
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot of fog, and Frodo is just alone. And he's hearing disembodied voices.
Yeah, it definitely that's the point the Lord of the Rings where you're like, oh, this is not like The Hobbit, is it?
No, it is not. Yeah, it's way scarier.
They're not singing fun songs. They're singing
No.
like death knells or whatever.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Colby
it's
head and
creepy.
heart and bone. Yeah, it's creepy shit.
Um, yeah, I mean, just the whole. I mean, up to that, the Nazgul stalking them is creepy in general, but that I think is the
Yeah.
creepiest part of that whole sequence for sure.
Yeah. And there is which is funny too, because while it's one of the creepiest parts of the book, it's immediately followed by Tom Bombadil again. Which
Yeah,
is
I
one
feel
of the
like that was
sillier things about Lord of the Rings.
yeah, I think that I feel like that was almost his way of like diffusing that
Yeah,
creepiness.
yeah, that horror and tension. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just inserting the most ludicrous character.
Well, yeah, you have like this creepy thing. There's this disembodied arm that's crawling towards the hobbits that are unconscious because they're all been bewitched. And Frodo just like calls for Tom Bombadil. It's like, "Get out, you old Barrow White! Get out of here!"
Yeah, like a super creepy scene for Tom to just sort of like dance around and sing and just
Yeah,
like
right.
destroy all of these barrows
Yeah,
somehow.
it's like you're watching in the middle of The Exorcist, and all of a sudden, like Elmo shows up and is like, "Here, devil," and then the devil does go away. Like that's
Yeah, it's like, well, I gotta listen to Elmo. I mean, he's telling me everything as a kid.
My God damn it, he sang a song. My one weakness as a zombie.
I can't compete with that.
Like, oh man, he sang a happy, a jaunty tune. My one weakness. Yeah.
Uh, so I mean, there are a few other. I don't really have like a particular favorite, but I mean, just to mention a few, the Paths of the Dead is definitely a creepy
Oh, so good.
passage
Yeah.
from Gimli's point of view,
Yes, I was
and
going to say that's the best part is that Gimli's point of view, and he is the most scared, which says a lot. Gimli's a stout son of a bitch, you know?
I mean, seemingly the most scared, but probably is in actuality.
Yeah, well, we know Legolas is not scared at all because he's just doing a flex on everybody else except for the sons of Elrond, who are also in the Grey Company. But yeah, the
Yeah.
elves are like, we don't care.
So yeah, I don't have nothing to worry about, even though they definitely do. I mean, it's just a
What, the
creepy
elves?
situation.
It is, yeah. I mean,
Everyone.
it's one of my favorite parts actually in the passing of the Grey Company. It's a very short sentence here. It's like the company halted, and there was not a heart among them that did not quail, unless it was the heart of Legolas of the elves, for whom the ghosts of men have no terror. It's like, yeah,
it's just...
we don't. We're immortal. We don't give a shit. Meanwhile, Gimli is shitting his pants.
Yeah, just completely.
Well, he's bringing up the rear, and so he just can hear these fucking ghosts chasing them. And he's like, the only thing that kept him going was his abject fucking terror at these ghouls that are following them.
Yeah, if you're gonna be that scared, you need to like hit the middle of the pack. You know?
Yeah. I would not want to be in Gimli's place. Yeah, I would want to be like, if Aragorn's leading, I would actually want to be behind him.
Yeah, I mean,
And maybe
also
Halbrand.
Aragorn can sort of, he's big enough to just completely block you from any ghost-related violence. So
Yeah, that's true. He's way taller than me, so like they wouldn't even be looking at me. You're looking at this great king of men, not a scared little buddy behind him.
All right, so there's there's passages in Shelob's lair are pretty creepy.
Oh yeah, definitely creepy.
The dead marshes.
You know, dead marshes are definitely creepy.
Yeah, there are a few points where Tolkien just sort of flexes his horror writing, and I feel like a lot of it is because he just has a great way with words, and there are a lot of words to evoke that sort of creepy atmosphere.
Yeah. There's another. There's one passage I remember. I can't remember which chapter it's in. I thought it was in the Council of Elrond, but it might not be. But talking about Gollum, about how he's like, that people would in the woodsman would whisper about like babies being stolen out of their cradles and stuff like that. Which, yeah, so Gollum maybe ate babies. That's pretty creepy.
That was I think it was when Gandalf was explaining.
Say, was it in? Yeah,
it might have been in the Council of Elrond.
I think it's either in Council of Elrond or Shadows of the Past, maybe.
He definitely talks more about him in the Council of Elrond when he's explaining. The whole story, like, tracked him down and everything.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
but that's an interesting one because it turns them into this like folklore monster for the.
I know. Villain. Yeah, it's pretty cool. See, if they had made the Gollum game about snatching babies out of their cradles, I bet it would have been met with some controversy, but probably still not as universally hated as the game they did put out.
Yeah, they would have had to issue a different sort of apology.
Yeah, it's like, we are sorry for all the infanticide in their game.
Yeah, it's just that classic. Yeah,
classic blunder.
Yeah, game producers are just sending that. It's like a form letter at this point. Right and left.
Yeah.
Oh god. All right. Well, that's a fun note to end it on.
Yeah. Well. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah. Happy Halloween. Gollum maybe ate babies. Anyway, everybody sleep well. Have a great night. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Is that it? Say.